Welcome to the Career Suite, where we focus on driving your future forward. I'm Helen G. Sneed, CEO, wife, mother, and philanthropist. So join me for career conversations inside the suite. You'll be glad you did. Hello, and welcome to the Career Suite. I'm Helen G. Sneed, Principal Partner of Drive the Goal, and I'm glad you're here for Season 2. We've made several changes, including our logo is a little different. We have a mini icon so you don't miss that microphone, a little swag, even something to throw over your shoulders. Hang on, I'm not sure everyone saw that. Even something to throw over your shoulders when it gets cool outside. And we've added guests.
Hello, everybody.
We have goal getters, and that's really what this is all about. So thank you again for joining us. We're going to introduce you to several different types of goal getters. They might be college graduates, high school graduates, law enforcement, military personnel. They could be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and professionals looking to find that next career. Our overarching theme for Season 2 is talent acquisition. And talent acquisition is a little bit more strategic than recruitment. With talent acquisition, we're looking at talent, assessing it, acquiring it, and networking with people that we think can move our organizations forward, even if there isn't an open position in the moment. Thank you for joining us for Season 2, and please welcome my very first guest, someone you're going to love, who will talk about a story from the 1980s that's relevant today. And in full disclosure, he is my husband of 24 years, retired Chief of Police, Gregory Sneed.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're very excited because your story really is relevant and amazing. So let's jump right in. Give us a sense of what happened in the mid-'80s that got you into law enforcement.
Well, in the mid-'80s, actually it started before then. I was working out all the time at the gym. And I met two gentlemen there. I ran into two gentlemen there. And one gentleman really did not care for me. He didn't care for my antics.
Okay.
Which was really, because I was playing football. And I
Right.
had this dream of going to the NFL.
Okay.
And I was going to be this NFL football star, wide receiver. I mean, that's how my head is this big.
I feel it. I do.
It was huge, and I was full of myself.
That's okay.
And so I would go do a set of curls, and in between, I would put the curls down and run and juke and get to the bench press and do some bench pressing,
Okay.
and then run and juke and get back to the next machine. And I would do this in between all of my sets.
Right.
And there was one officer there who really didn't care for my antics. He didn't care for it. He just didn't.
He didn't see the talent.
He did not see it. There was another officer there, however, who encouraged me.
Okay.
And he spoke to me. He showed me how to do certain workouts.
Okay.
He asked me about what I was going to do, where I was going to go, and off I went to college.
He saw potential.
Off I went to college, and I started.
Right.
I'm the starting wide receiver for the team, and in the final game, I get the kickoff because I'm also the punt returner and kickoff returner.
Okay.
So I get the kickoff. I'm running down the field. I beat everyone. I got all the blocks. I got everybody beat. I got one person left to beat. I juke to the right and fake to the left or go to the left. And he went for the juke. But unfortunately, my knee was still planted in the ground. And he hit it. And that was the end of that story and the end of that dream, really. And there was no plan B. Okay. I didn't have a plan B. Okay. So I got the surgery. Right. Went back to the gym. Okay. And Eddie Lynch. Eddie Lynch is that person who saw something. And I don't know what it was he saw at the time.
Thank you, Eddie Lynch.
But he saw something. And he said, "What are you going to do now?" And as your husband, I said, "Oh, no."
That is an inside joke.
And so Eddie says, here's a piece of paper. I want you to go to West Farms Mall. and hand the boss this piece of paper.
Okay.
And when I got there, I walked upstairs and asked for the boss and handed him the piece of paper. And he says, "You're hired."
Wow. Talk about a warm introduction. Good referral.
It's a good referral. And so I worked at West Farms Mall for about a year at that time. And Eddie comes back in. He says, "Hey, I hear you're doing a good job.
Nice.
Here's a piece of paper, writes down a name again, take it to the Farmington Police Department, and hand it to the chief of police."
Again, Eddie saw talent.
So I go down to the Farmington Police Department. I hand the paper to the chief of police, and he says, "You're hired."
Great.
And I become a supernumerary police officer for the Farmington Police Department until 1985, when I got hired by the Middletown Police Department.
Congratulations,
Thank
right?
you.
Right.
Yeah.
Great story. Okay.
And
Keep it going.
So again, there, Eddie helped me out there. And once I got to the Farmington Police Department, the Middletown Police Department,
Right.
I was pretty much taken in under the wings of Sergeant Mitch Ward and Louis Tosto. And they became my next two mentors, really, to help guide me through my time at the Middletown Police Department.
Appreciation to both of them.
Appreciation and shout out to both of them. They both have passed, but
Right.
God bless them. And they helped me along the way, and to the point where Louis called me his son. So
nothing like 2, 3 good mentors, great mentors, right?
Great mentors who saw something and helped me. And as you said, they saw a talent that I didn't even realize that was there, and they believed in me.
It's interesting, right? Because they saw the talent and they helped you with your goals.
Yes.
You weren't quite sure what it might look like, but you knew you needed to do something.
I knew I needed something. And again, here are three people who really took the time, nurtured me,
right,
helped me grow, and then set me on my path and let me make the mistakes or grow where I could. And they were there for the whole time.
That's great. It really is. And as I mentioned earlier, even though this was somewhere around the 80s, it's relevant today when we talk about networking and seeing talent in other people and being mentors and identifying those opportunities. That's also what we're talking about, right? Identifying opportunities that may or may not be readily or immediately available. I want to talk about your career transition. I think it's very important because I'm not sure how many people know and recognize that although you retired from law enforcement, you have a new career. You play the saxophone. You're known on stage as GB sax player. I'll let you tell the rest of the story because, again, great story. And that skill of focus and drive and setting goals comes into play yet again.
And again, so we talk about building bridges too.
Yes.
Part of this is, Eddie and Mitch and Louis taught me how to communicate with other people and build those bridges. And so now, 36 years later,
Yeah.
It's time to retire from the police department, and I want to be a saxophone player. I want to start performing out in public. Now, there's another whole story behind this, people. Somebody that might be sitting right next to me had to kick me out of the house and make me go perform. But that's a whole nother story.
Because they saw talent.
And so after I got the foot out of my butt and went out and started performing, it really was, it was just something that just took off and went. But it wasn't until, I used some of the same tools that I was taught by these three gentlemen. I went to the Chamber of Commerce. I went to the things that I knew, the people that I knew that would help me make that transition. But it's all about building bridges. And how did I learn about building bridges? It was from the Middletown Police Department and from Eddie and Mitch and Louis teaching me how to do these things.
Right. That's great. So I do want to take the time for those of you very interested in listening to GB sax player play and perform, because you can find him live and in person, primarily in Winter Haven, Florida, but also in Connecticut. So tell the good people you have 3 songs out and where you're going to play. I believe Hot Shots is one place, the Social, the Union Tap Room, and then back to Connecticut in August. So I'll let you finish this up.
Well, you pretty much nailed it right there. So I'm performing in Winter Haven, Florida. Like she says, primarily. I'm all around Florida, really, but primarily in the Winter Haven area. And as she just said, Hot Shots, and shout out to Melissa for
Yes.
every other Sunday gig there. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Melissa.
The Social Cocktail Lounge, which was the first place to actually hire me, and I'm there about once a month. And the Union Tap Room, I'm also there about once a month, all places in Winter Haven. And the 3 songs that she talked about, I have 3 singles that are out there now. I'm blessed. My One and Only Love, Tickle, and Imagine are my 3 singles out there. You can find them on any of the social downloads. But that's where we are now. That's great.
And I do want to go back to very quickly again our appreciation to all of the venues that have hired DV sax player, especially Melissa, who has put you on a semi-regular schedule of every other Sunday,
Yes.
starting at 10:30 or 11. It does change a little bit with the seasons. And beginning August 4th, you can start to count the every other Sunday. And I think you're working on a new venue. I'm not sure. Is it confirmed yet?
It's confirmed.
Okay.
So I will be at
Kimber.
Yep, Kimber's Bar and Grill, and we start that on the 10th of August.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story and how relevant it is even today. Any of you that are goal getters, whether you own a business or you're looking to change careers or make a difference, reach out to me through the Career Suite or Drive the Goal, and we'll help you get those goals. Thanks again, Gregory. Thanks again, Judy Sax player.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.